This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. A few days ago, I received a comment on one of my videos, and the question was, could you share with us how to get your husband to chase you throughout a long-term marriage? My answer to her was, from the sound of your question, it seems highly likely that you are single and have never been in a normal long-term relationship. Am I right? She responds, yes. How can you tell? The reason why is because having your man or husband chase you throughout a long-term marriage is not very difficult. It is simply being you, simply being a woman and being married. The probability that he will chase you throughout the marriage, meaning initiate sex, is like 95% probability that that's going to happen throughout your entire marriage. Now, this will decrease eventually, let's say after 10 years or 15 years of nagging you to have sex on a continuous, consistent basis, even after you're basically like, oh my gosh, like again and again and again. Eventually he's going to get the hint and lower the amount of times that he asks of you. Also, his testosterone levels are going to decrease, meaning you guys are simply not going to have as much sex as you used to in your older days. You have to understand that testosterone levels in men is 10 to 12 times more than what women have, which means that they will have a lot of sexual desire compared to you. He's going to initiate sex again and again and again and again and again and again, and it's very rare that it is the woman that initiates and chases the man for sex. Very often she will become less interested in the chasing. And this is exactly how I know that the comment I received was from a single woman who has never been in a normal long-term relationship before. Let's go through some studies that have been made on exactly this, just to confirm what I'm talking about. This one was by 170 undergraduate students who had been in relationships between a month to 9 years. Okay, so there was a medium in between there. And the questionnaire was basically their levels of desire in the relationship. And what they found was that men reported high levels of desire regardless of the length of the relationship. However, the longer the woman had been in a relationship with that guy, the lower sexual desire she had for the guy. So as a woman in a long-term relationship, your sexual desire for your guy will lower the longer you've been in that relationship. And as a guy, regardless of the length, you're going to still have the same exact sexual desire. On to study number 2 and 3. Now these people were asked to report about sexual desire in their relationship, and they reported every 6 to 8 months throughout several years. What they noticed is that as newlyweds, they had moderate to high levels of sexual desire for each other. Men had higher than women. Over the next 6 to 24 months of all of these relationships, on average, the women's sexual desire would decrease steeply, while men's desire would be constant. It would remain exactly the same throughout the entire time of the first 2 years of that marriage. And then they studied about what happens when couples get kids. This accentuated women's lack of sexual desire even more. Okay, so it became even worse. And men's desire, surprise, surprise, remained constant. Can you see what's going on here? Going on with the study, these findings held even after controlling for depression and stress related to parenthood. So basically, they checked if maybe it was just the stress or maybe it was extra depression that caused these things to happen. No, we take those things out of it, and women will always have a lower sexual desire than men over the course of their relationship. In my personal opinion, though, a woman's lack of sexual desire will cause her a lot of depression and will cause her a lot of stress, extra stress. And then some people will say, well, but sex isn't everything in marriage. That's not really that important. There are many other things in marriage that are important. Well, yes and no. And I'll tell you here. They say that sex counts for 15 to 20% of marital satisfaction. See, it's not everything. When the sex is satisfactory. However, when the sex is not satisfactory, it accounts for 50 to 70% of marital satisfaction. In other words, if the sex is not good in a marriage, it's going to be critically important to get that back on track for the family to survive. Female sexual dissatisfaction is the entire reason that families are in peril and they're going out of date. Don't you sincerely believe that if a woman had brain-altering, earth-shattering, full-body orgasmic sex, that she would leave that man behind? I think not. This is the problem in marriages. When the sex is absolutely amazing, the woman stays behind. It's always about, do I have a better option when it comes to marriage? That's what women are constantly thinking about if they're unhappy in their marriage. And if they do have a better option, what do you think is going to happen? 80 to 90% of the time when a couple gets divorced, it is the woman that initiates this divorce. And we know that 50% of the time or more that you say I do, that couple is going to get a divorce. That means that you, once you get married, the probability that you will actually initiate divorce, not get a divorce, but initiate one, is 40%. 40%. Men who get married, there's a 10% chance that they will initiate divorce. Doesn't happen very often. Women, 4 times more. Once we begin to understand the unraveling of the family and understanding the cause of it, we can figure out how to change it, how to improve upon it. What is it specifically that causes women to lose sexual desire for their husbands? What is it? Because once we know that, we can solve the problem. Once we know what it takes for women to actually be fired up and excited about being in their marriages, to be fired up about being in love with their partners, and to be fired up all of the time throughout their entire marriage, we can actually provide that for them. And in fact, it's really not that difficult, but it is kind of difficult. And you'll find out from watching more of my videos, especially those that have anything to do with 3 Girls in Love. This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you in the next video.